Yo, what is up YouTube? And today we're going to be talking about the SSR characters you guys should be building if you have them on your account, because they are very low investment in terms of modules and also in Golden Lattice. Now if you guys are like me, you guys are probably hurting on Golden Lattice. I only have one in my inventory and I still have a lot of characters to upgrade, and you guys probably are also in the same boat because there is always the lattice shortage in this game, especially the golden one. So I'm basically going to be telling you the characters in this game that are very good without any investment at all, and you should be using them for sure, because if they don't really cost any lattice, they're basically going to be very low investment characters because you don't have to invest your most precious time-gated resource. So the first one I want to talk about is Beyontin. Now Beyontin is going to be one of the best characters for speed farming in the game, just because of the fact that she has an attack buff and a crit damage buff. Nothing else really matters too much. Her S2 will boost an ally to take their turn and reduce their cooldowns by 2 turns if you max it out, but you don't even have to do that. Basically, you're just doing it for the turn cycling, and she enables you to actually speed farm a lot of runs. Even though her auto AI is not great, you will want to eventually use her to actually get your fast clears. And the reason why you want to do that is because if you actually look at my clears here, if we just like exit out really quick, you're going to see that I basically have 3-star clears and everything, and a lot of them are going to actually come down to Beyontin. For example, Doki Doki, you can see Beyontin is here, and even though she isn't really going to be the best auto character in Doki Doki, you can speed tune her to work. In Aurora, it's the same thing. Even though you can't get her to work in autoing Aurora, if you actually have her, you can actually manual Aurora a couple of times until you get good RNG, and this way you can actually get those 3 stars. So during 2x, you don't have to do 5 runs of Aurora over and over, and that way you can actually just, do what you want to do without staring at your phone all day and just refreshing your runs. So because of this, Beyontin is one of the best low investment characters, just because it's a lot of quality of life, because she enables you to just 3-star your runs and just one-shot them, and even maybe work into some auto teams once you get some good gear and get your speed tuning down. The next one we're going to talk about is Tsukiyo Mi. Now even though she does want to get her S3 maxed out, because in PvP this is how you turn meter push by 100%, not really required in PvE. You're mostly going to be using her for her attack and speed buff, and of course to push an ally, which is going to be great. And this just makes it so that she's sort of a Lily replacement. She works in the same spot as Lily, kind of the same role, where she's boosting your DPS and giving speed buff to your team, and also buffing your DPS with attack buff. And she also has a way to reduce your skill and shell cooldowns for all your allies. So pretty similar to Lily, she's very good. You can see she has a ton of pushing for her and her teammate that is the highest attack, so basically kind of like how Twin Trick works. So because of that, she's a very good character with low investment. Even though she does have some high cooldowns, you can make up for this by just running her on Time Weave or Halloween, because both of her skills are super good. So Halloween is a very good shell for her, and of course Time Weave works as well. So one of the best pushers in the game at low investment cost. Next character we're looking at is Mia. So Mia is pretty similar to Tsukiyo Mi in that she also has a way to reduce your team's cooldowns and also their shell cooldowns. But the thing is, she also extends buff duration. So this is amazing because she can extend your buffs, and on top of that, she can shorten the duration of debuffs. So her S3 is amazing. She also heals your team by 30% of her max health, so it's a really fat heal. She also has an AoE pushback. She can dispel, which is crazy, and her S1 also shields an ally with the lowest health. And she's basically amazing in areas of content like Terramaton. In Aurora, she's very good, and in PvP, she ends up being very good as well. And she's one of the best characters in the game for PvE at low investment because of all the utilities she has. And even though you do want that cooldown reduction, it's definitely not needed. A lot of the things that have this like reduced skill cooldown, you can just get by running them on something like a Time Weave set, which is going to be very powerful. So that makes Mia one of the best low investment characters in the game. You're going to see a lot of people using her in Terramaton and Aurora and just leave her at 1-1-1, and she does the job just fine. Just an amazing character that doesn't really require that much golden lattice, and by that much golden lattice, I mean literally 0 for PvE content. The next character we're going to be talking about is Lingluo. Now Lingluo is a very good low investment character. You get her for free after 2 weeks of playing, actually 1 week of playing, sorry, and she's very good because her heals are very strong, and because they're so bursty, you don't really need to consistently heal your team. She can pretty much solo heal your team without any lattice investment. Eventually though, you will want to max her S1 for PvP and also to make Aurora a bit easier. Beside that, you can leave her at 111 and get through the majority of the game without any problems. She is amazing as a healer. Her burst healing is super high, her whale prayer is so strong, so you can actually leave her at 111 for a long time until you actually get to Aurora Inferno. If you start struggling there, then you can max her S1 to level 5. Definitely not required though if you have good units to support her. Like if you bring Mia with Lingluo, you definitely don't need to max the S1, but it is something you probably want to look at later on. But until then, she's an amazing low investment healer that is going to be probably the best healer in the game with not a lot of investment. Green Sonya is a very good healer, but she's very lattice hungry. Even though she's an SR character, she requires 555 on her skills to be very effective. So because of that, Lingluo will actually be easier to use than Green Sonya in the early game by a large margin, which is pretty funny. Freya is going to be another character that is great with low investment. She is amazing for PvE and in PvP. In PvP, you will want to max her S1 for the speed bonus, especially if you're playing Cleave. But in PvE content, she's amazing. First off, her S3 doesn't get skill cooldown reduction anyways, and it's going to be the skill that's the most important for her. It gives you an attack buff and also applies Nightmare at a very high chance. Nightmare will increase the damage you do by 12% and heal you by 12% until you max it out. Definitely not required to max it, so you can leave this at level 1 and it's very powerful. Her S2, even though it does get cooldown reduction at level 5, definitely not the most important skill for her. It gives you a defense buff and Dreamweave, which will basically purify you when you get hit by a debuff. Very good, but not the most important skill in the game. So because of that, you can leave it at a level 1 and it works out very well. Then we have her S1. So her S1 basically increases the chance to apply your buff and debuff. And also the best thing is that in her passive, you actually gain turn meter when you get a buff. And when an enemy is inflicted with a debuff, they lose turn meter. Now the thing is, this doesn't really matter too much in PvE content. Yes, it's really good, but losing 3% over 4% doesn't really matter in the long run for PvE. All you get from maxing it is going to be, of course, speed from the prowess nodes, but also it changes from 3% to 4% turn meter. So for that reason, definitely one of the best, probably the best character at 111 for PvE in my opinion, because she doesn't really gain too much in PvE by maxing her skills, but she's an amazing character for things like Doki Doki, early Teramaton farming, and in like Ember Trek and stuff like that. She's very good on the last boss. I forget what his name is. The one that summons those really annoying ads that stun you and has 3 phases. She's one of the best characters there, even at 111. And this month's Ember Trek that we are experiencing right now as a recording, it has that boss as the last boss of hard. So Freya makes that boss super easy and you don't need any lattice investments into her. Another great character, and this is also going to be one of the best characters in the game at low investment, is Fuqiu. So Fuqiu is basically an S3 machine. Basically, you just try to S3 as much as possible. You could do this by putting her on Time Weave, or if you have Doki Doki, you pair with Doki Doki and she S3s like every turn, or even run her on Halloween. And the reason why it's so strong is because while she's in this S3 form, your team is just getting healed and turn meter pushed every time they take their turn and after they take damage. So this is pretty OP. You just heal your team and turn meter push your team every time they get hit or take a turn, which is going to make it so that you don't really die when this is up unless you take a lot of burst, which isn't really present in a lot of the fights. So because of that, you can leave her at 111. Her S2, it's not really worth maxing because you're not going to really be building her fast for the most part unless you're playing her with Doki Doki. But even then, you're most likely going to be spamming her S3 a lot. And then your S1, even though it keeps you in your Moonlit Veil form longer, like I said, you could just bring her on Time Weave or Halloween and just get your cooldown back on this anyways. Because of this, her skills are just super overpowered for PvE content and PvP honestly, so for both, you can leave her at 111. For PvP, you will want to level 3 her S3 just for that extra turn meter push, but definitely not required. She is one of the best characters at low investment for sure in terms of supports. The first and only LD character on this list is Heinrich. So Heinrich fits a similar role to Beyontin where he's going to be very good in one-shot comps, but he's also pretty good in just single target fights that take a while. The reason is because his S1 doesn't really matter too much. It just makes it so that your S1 last words debuff lasts longer, but you're going to be stacking this up very quickly anyways. His S2 reduces the cooldown of his his AoE attack, kind of AoE, but this one doesn't really matter either. The only one that really is going to benefit is his S3 because it's a very hard hitting ability that will actually increase the crit damage boost of your debuff. but this is not required either. You just build him very fast so he cycles quickly, and basically he's just there to boost the damage of your team, and he'll be able to stack his debuff a lot without even needing any lattice investment. He's kind of like a support DPS hybrid. He works very well in one-shot comps similar to Beyontin, and it works at 1-1-1 in those one-shot comps very similarly to Beyontin, so definitely one of the best support DPSs that have low investment cost. And last but not least, we have Kloss. So Kloss is one of the best supports in the game, probably the best SSR RGB support in the game in terms of her buffs and debuffs. And the reason is because she has these amazing debuffs. I guess she doesn't really have buffs, but basically defense down, speed down, and hack in just makes you do a ton more damage, take less damage, and cycle a lot faster, just super broken. And you might be thinking, doesn't she benefit a lot from lattice? Yes, she does. Her S1 level 5 is very strong, her S3 level 5 to lower the cooldown is very strong. However, you can leave her at 1-1-1 because she is such a broken character, and she's still amazingly strong. Yes, if you do lattice her, she's even better, but because she's only really used in PvE, you can actually save those lattice and not use it at all on her. I actually have her at 1-1-5, and I kind of regret it. I don't really think I need the lattice in in S3. So because of that, you can leave her at 1-1-1 and still find extreme value from her in like Doki Doki, in Terramatan, in like all one-shot comps, in Rengokutsu as well. And she is going to be one of the best supports also at low lattice investment. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video though, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.